Well, after what amounted to a marathon length video, which I'll probably be done with the game and waiting to put this one together before my movie maker finishes that thing, we got another one. What do we got here? Some guards. Now, I've got to be real careful to... Nah, not too careful. I was thinking placement. The first thing we do is we see what increment manages. We get a low roll on this, and I think it's over. I don't think there are sufficient allied units to handle this. We get a 3, that's 10 units. I gotta think real carefully. What 10 can I afford to get rid of? 10's a big number. I don't think we're gonna succeed here. So here's 3. It's gotta come from the right and the British center. How many times am I allowed to bring the Brits in? I don't remember if it's 1 or 2. If it's 1, I don't know how much it matters, to tell you the truth. I think I need to use French to assault. Just because of the distance matters. It's either there or over there. Let's see what we got here. The British can only activate the guards once per game. That's my restriction. It's not the whole British force. The whole British force was from Lille. Okay, well, let's pull the guards off then. They can come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. 8. This doesn't hurt me. I guess I'll take a couple of lights out. 9, 10. I'm allowed to use the 1st Division, just not the Guards Regiment. Alright. Well, that's a lot of units I'm not going to be able to play with. And now we get our replacement points. And face what amounts to the final chance for the Allies to take a major bastion. Now this qualifies as major, but boy, it's been defended heavily with all those field guns. 3 of these count as majors. They may be easier targets. We got the ammunition supply in. The Allies don't get anything, but the Russians got a little bit more. I look at the Allied supplies, and they have a lot. And remember, all these French guns are still there. I didn't have enough ammo to knock them out. I may have enough to take down all these bastions. I may have enough to blow up the whole Russian army. That would make this very, very easy. I don't think an advance on this front is possible. So I'll shift my guards over. The only real problem I have is I have no manpower. And that may get reduced even further by the Russian counter-bombardment. But let's see what I can do with the French. This is going to take me a long time, and I'm not going to do it all on video. You've seen the reduction of these two. Well, I got more guns, better placed, to take out at least these 3 bastions, maybe that one. I've also got British guns. What can they do? Not much, but maybe I can blow up something back here. I don't think I can reach with my Brits. This is the real problem. Let's see. Let's say I come from here. 150 times 5 is going to be 750. That's not going to make it. What about out of here? Here I could make it. So if I can take that bastion down, I think the Brits can go take that. The British siege artillery wouldn't be able to reach any of these bastions, so I concentrated all my fire, all 9 shells, and all I got it down to was a 3. Now here's the thing. My mortars can actually hit these suckers. I'm going to hold my mortar fire until after I do the French fire, see if they give me any opportunities, because I can kill off some units with that. And that'll, if I can wipe out the Russian defenses there in terms of strength points across the board, wow, it's over. Got 70 siege artillery rounds left, and I've blown through this bastion. I can start lobbing mortar shells in, but I want to blow through all the bastions first. Now, these other bastions are at a greater distance, so it was a little harder. I dropped this one down, but I'm down to 45 rounds. I think I can take this one down too. I'm not so sure about that one. But my siege artillery rounds don't do anything about these guys actually in the reserves of the bastions. And this is kind of weird. The Russians should have probably set up closer. Of course, they'd be dead if they did. So no, that's no good. You don't want to be on the bastions because that will just kill you. Even though there's an incentive not to let the French up there, you know, honestly, that's safer than having your units exposed if there's artillery that can fire them. A relatively expensive one to knock this bastion down. We're down to only 13 rounds. They serve no other purpose though. Let's see if we can knock this one down for further information. Because, you know, I want to know where to target in particular if even though I have no intention of taking this bastion, if I can blow a hole in that, well, maybe it'll help me allocate my mortar rounds better. I'm not sure. I gotta say, I didn't do too badly on that. I got it down to 2. Of course, all my siege weapon ammo's gone. But now I got 37 rounds of mortar ammo. Firing largely, it's going to be against the 0 column. I'm just going to mop up those troops really quick. Then I turn the mortar against this, see if I can finish that off. And assuming I still have the British mortar, I turn that against this and try to knock out some of the remaining units there. We'll see. Looking like almost a certain Allied victory. All of these wiped out. I've got 31 rounds of mortar fire left. Given kind of how poorly I feel I've done with the Allies in this game, screwed some things up, etc. This was kind of a cheat in their favor. There's no question that helped them, because otherwise the Brits could have launched from here and helped assail that, but that's kind of a longish walk compared to this jump off point. It was British troops, the swarm of British troops, that took that bastion. So on the other hand, the French could have been here as soon as January working on that rather than really kind of piddling around down here, although this is paying off now. But with 31 rounds, that should be dead too. I don't seem to have any Allied mortar rounds. That's strange. I don't know if I fired them off in some last-ditch effort. I thought I was withholding them, but maybe they were at 0. So I've got 27 rounds after destroying this. Now this is enough to say the game's over. We'll see for sure. We'll play it out, because there is some opportunity first for the siege guns to kind of blow up the parallels, make it harder, and then for the field artillery to impede. There aren't a lot of French troops that are going to be attacking. Over here, well, this is almost impossible to take down, I think, but 27 rounds, even though they're at -3. Remember, mortars can fire across the board, so I don't have to worry about this, but it's at -3 for hitting that, which means, I don't know, there's only three hits I have to take. Let's see what we got here. -3 at 3, well, anything 3 or, yeah, no, I'm over here. Anything 4 or higher, because that's a 1 over on the mortar roll, I'll start pounding into the actual siege works. I think that's gone as well. And I think this is pretty certain, but we'll see. I can start blowing up the units in there. I've taken it down and I've got 19 rounds. Well, that's actually provably gonna be destroyed. There's like 10 units in there, 19 rounds, but I can use the additional rounds maybe to blow this down or blow that down or something to improve my chances of getting in somewhere, I guess. Yeah, we only got this down to, what, a 5. I don't think that matters one bit, though, because there are no troops to defend it. So there's nothing... Well, an assault against this gun could conceivably get a worse result because there's some defensive remains there. All right, now it's the Russians' turn to play. And they have very little, 5 siege gun points and 2 mortar rounds. Huh? Is that all they got? Yeah. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to concentrate over here. A, because there's units there. And the garrison doesn't really matter because as you're flooding forward, you get to bring garrison units with you if they're the correct commands. But yeah, this doesn't look possible. All right, well, the Russian guns fired all their remaining ammo. I took out 2 parallels. This one's kind of neat because it takes this one out too. If I had aimed at this one, it would have taken both out. I can't deploy troops in there unless I repair this. I think I'm very, very low on troops. I know I'm very, very low on troops. So a repair seems like a bad idea. But all I need to do is walk in and take this sucker. And it's over. And I think that's pretty easy to do at this point. I'll play out what there is of it. But yeah, basically, I've got a line there that can go in already. Looking at the British assault line, I can get maybe 1 unit in here and maybe 1 unit in here, but that's the maximum. I'm looking at this line puts me here, and then another 150 may get me close. I measured one out here that gets me into one of these two, but that's only 1 unit, so I'm going to ignore the Brits, save myself some time there. For the French, they're set up over here. And I have basically 2 sets of 3 units that can go forward because I rebuilt this line. That's all I got. More than that, I can't even do that. Right. All right, let's send the guards here. And this here. I actually only have this 1 attack. These guys have to garrison. So I've got 4 units going in against here. Now they're almost guaranteed to take it. Let's quickly measure out some movement. Looks like I can make it with that one. Some Zouaves here. Got to be kind of careful. I think I can make it kind of to here. I don't know if I can walk over parallels that way. And this guy here. All right. So now I have a single attack. From this, I don't think I'm within 600 of this gun. And I'm not sure I am. Can't really see. Holding this with that. Yeah, it looks like I got a 600 there. I don't know if I can fire through there, though. There's no LOS rules in this. What the hell? Okay. So, I'm going to unload with this. And, well, we'll make our decision with that one after we fire. So this guy, though, is at -1 for range. He's firing at French Zouaves. So he's at -3. He's not going to do much of anything. Well, maybe you will. Now we have an A morale French Zouave, which passes its morale. Now the question for me is, do I want to shoot at the Grenadiers or the Zouaves? I want to shoot the Grenadiers because the Zouaves are harder to hit. So I'm at +1 for range, -1 for French. I get a hit. And 4, it has no effect. So now I'm at 24 to 2 is 12 to 1. No bonuses. Sorry, +1 because they're Russian. And 3, I get a hit. They're knocked out of there. And you can see these 2 units, this will be able to advance. These two units will move to here, and they'll take those hexes. Actually, or spots. This one should have been up there after its movement. So that's the game. I've taken a major bastion in this red Rosslau, and a minor one here. And what you could assume happened from that bombardment is like the historical happening, which is that the Russians saw how bad it was getting as their walls were collapsing, and they evacuated. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody stood around and got killed. There was still an escape route out that way. But the city falls, and you know, I gotta say, it's gotta be pretty damn tough for the Allies not to be able to win this one. I think I've found that before, that Lille was a little bit more difficult. We saw I had kind of a rough time with that. This one, they just get so much ammo. You know, I felt like I played the Russians very, very well here in terms of got everything built up, had a lot of troops on the board, did increment at the right time. You know, a big pile of troops went away just before victory chance. It still wasn't enough. I don't think there's anything that I could do in terms of cleverness with the Russians that would have improved things. Did this make enough of a difference? I don't think so. I really don't. I think it's just that overwhelming amount of firepower being held to the end of the game. If you've piddle it out throughout the game, it might be a closer game, but there's no real reason to do that unless you want to slaughter troops or try to go for an early victory or something. But I saw no reason for that because I looked at the parameters of the scenario, as it were. I've got this long. I will optimize my chances of winning. That's probably not terribly historical to do. You know, they probably weren't looking at, oh, geez, yeah, let's withhold all of our batteries because we may have trouble firing for the duration of the siege until we're ready to launch, you know? But that's how these games play out. Anyway, even though I screwed this one up, even though obviously I had some mechanical difficulties, and this one's a little bit more, this one still has a little bit of complexity, especially when you're holding a camera and trying to measure at the same time. I still enjoy this one the most. Whether or not it's balanced doesn't really make too much of a difference to me. This one takes away a lot of the mechanical complexity that's present in Lille. And I find this in Lille such intriguing scenarios. I'll come back, you know, I'm saying the same kind of stuff that I'd be saying in the review. I always liked what I used to do, the wrap and review on one video. But some people don't watch the playthroughs. The majority of people don't watch the playthroughs. And I guess they want to hear stuff. And who knows, I may say something different in the review anyway. All right, let's send this one up.